The lengths that people go to scrape the bottom of the barrel for clout, specifically on TikTok, never cease to amaze. And as you know, the TikTok shutdown was a ruse all along. It is going to come back in the US. You will see no end of this. Some people will do just about anything to get their dream body. A trans woman from Kansas City had 6 ribs removed in order to achieve a smaller waist.
I sent this to Mary last week. I rarely post about this type of stuff on Twitter, but I just posted like, you will live to see man-made horrors beyond your comprehension.
No,
it's kind of true.
It's not unheard of that people would get ribs removed for cosmetic reasons.
I heard that Marilyn Manson did that.
Marilyn Manson, of course, the old wives' tale. But like that in and of itself is not unheard of, but 6 ribs sounds like you're severely endangering your life. On top of how crazy that is.
Don't get in any fist fights.
But just on top of how crazy that decision is in and of itself, this person who goes by Emily James on TikTok documented the whole experience for everyone to see, and now plans, after spending $17,000 on the surgery, to create a crown out of the removed ribs.
Absolutely bonkers.
How is that even legal?
That's what a lot of people are asking, right? Is like, have we gone too far? And why are these doctors allowed to affirm such strangely mentally ill behavior?
I don't know. Would a biological woman getting or asking to get this kind of elective cosmetic surgery even be allowed to do it? Or is it only allowed under the umbrella of gender affirming care?
I bet you they'd allow it.
These days, yeah, and these doctors are still allowed to basically
Did they just skip the
do
no harm?
malpractice.
Did they just skip the do no harm part now?
Yeah, that's not really even in consideration
It's like
anymore.
do more harm.
Do more harm all the time, whenever possible.
The new Hippocratic Oath.
So this TikToker, at 27 years old, by the way, said, I plan on having someone make a crown out of the ribs. They let me keep them, and I was initially going to gift them to my best friend. Cut off your friend.
That's narcissistic as F.
That's insane.
What the hell makes you like? I don't know if any of my friends would ever be crazy enough to think that I would want their ribs.
Emily James said, in 3 days, I'm getting 3 ribs removed on each side. I'm going to have an Emily barbecue. That's the way it was phrased. And I don't even know if we're allowed to show this on YouTube.
I accidentally scrolled past it. I have
apparently
no idea.
This is allowed to be shown on TikTok, so I can only guess it's and some people can't even keep their tonsils when they get those removed, or their wisdom teeth removed. You're not allowed to keep that because that's actual biomedical waste.
Yep.
That shouldn't be your keepsake from your cosmetic surgery. But yeah, they say
you didn't want it in your body. The doctor's like, you didn't even want it in your body. Why would I give it to you on the outside of your body?
I plan on making them into a crown. I've had people say they would make them into a chew toy for a dog, or boil them down into broth.
Bone broth.
To drink your own bone broth. Self-cannibalism. Despite some people's suggestions, James said she won't be eating her ribs in any form.
Well, I suppose small victories in this case.
Armie Hammer is like, hey, I'm right here. You could have donated them.
He's like, I'm
me.
back in the movies right now. Are you kidding me? I'm a star again. Let me go.
Yeah. Emily James clarified, eating human meat can cause a plethora of disorders that are fatal. So I will not be partaking in cannibalism.
Yeah,
Thank
you.
That would be a bridge too far, of course.
It's like a prion disease, the ones that eat your brain from the inside.
So I would like to think that none of you watching right now would support this decision, but here's a little bit more of a nuanced example. Here on TikTok, a cancer patient had to get her arm amputated, and as a coping mechanism for the loss of her limb, she held a TikTok funeral for the amputated arm and filmed the whole thing.
Should we watch the
Let's take a look at the video. It's honestly quite disturbing. There it is. It's wearing a corsage there. Why does she look so happy?
I'm Eldira, and this is my arm. That's on the table right now.
Hands to it.
I feel many things at the same time.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that this was done for views and not because it actually helps her.
It's Allie.
Really?
I feel, yeah.
Isabel, and I'm having the time of my life.
My name's Sasha, and this is fascinating. Morbid, but fascinating.
My name's Dale, and this is actually happening.
His suit kind of eats, though.
My name's Christina, and I'm happy that it brings some closure.
Yeah, she's awesome.
You know how some people shave their heads in solidarity with a friend who has cancer? Imagine if all of the people in this friend group got sympathy amputations.
That's real, friend.
And had
That's a real friendship.
Collective arm funeral for all of their arms.
Thank you, No Control, for noticing my go out on a limb joke.
So, I mean, obviously this was deemed a medically necessary
so that makes
procedure.
sense.
That was necessary, okay? Holding the memorial service for your amputated arm and then posting it on TikTok is another thing entirely.
Well, let me ask you this. What if you did it but didn't post it, didn't film a video out of it? Well, what if it was the type of thing where...
That's defensible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's the act of filming it and turning it into monetizable content
Yeah.
that makes it egregious.
She also posted a photo shoot of herself with her amputated arm on Instagram. She said, "What started as a joke, holding a service for my amputated arm, ended up being a beautifully cathartic experience. I laughed at the absurdity of it for a minute and then just stared at the shriveled up skin for a while, trying to remember the past 22 years I was able to spend with this thing. I've held many hands, felt the skin of loved ones, picked up spiders to take outside, wiped away tears, pet dogs, and picked dandelions, played piano, guitar, ukulele, an act I'll never again get to experience. I always joke that my arm tried to kill me, but after looking at it on the table, seeing the scars it collected over the years, I realized it too was just a victim of this disease, and it made the ultimate sacrifice on my behalf. Cancer has taken a lot from me and still continues to, and it's uniquely difficult to say goodbye to a limb like this, but this experience has helped me process the finality of this situation. I'm grateful for the mortuary for being so accommodating of such an unconventional request. They treated her," she's referring to her arm as her, "with the same respect that they would with a full loved one, painted her nails and livened up her skin, I assume with makeup, gave her a pillow to rest on and a blanket to make her comfortable."
I wonder how much they charged for that.
I do too. Is that morbid as well?
Like, are we gonna our funeral homes gonna start carrying, packages for limbs?
Nobody is built with the understanding of how to navigate a situation this uniquely devastating, but I think I chose the right path. I'm infinitely grateful for my loved ones who are willing to go to my own funeral with me. I'm glad I was able to say both thank you and goodbye. I'm sorry this happened to us, but you served me well. Thanks for the good memories, the pain, and the joy.
Look, I guess we live in an age now where social media is such an ingrained part of people's existence that they don't even think about it. They don't even think about how the act of filming it and turning it into content might seem egregious to others, because for a lot of people, creating content, however like over the top and produced it is just a part of showing your world to everyone else. So they might not catch it there. It does seem kind of gross to me, but I would wager that as you go down the line to younger and younger generations, they're not going to feel that way. Like, eventually the age of people who feel that way might die out.
Like there's no reflex other than to share.
Yes.
Basically. Yeah, I mean, with this example, I understand where she's coming from, at least.
There's a logic behind doing it. Like,
but
there
with
is.
the first example of the rib removal, that's literally just
vanity.
Just vanity and attention seeking through and through.
Don't they do like similar things for mothers who lose children in childbirth? Not this
Similar
type of
things
thing.
like what?
Like throwing a funeral for a baby that was never actually born.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that that's not a one-to-one comparison. I'm just trying to think of something.
It's a little bit weird to anthropomorphize your
Arm.
and call it her and
Yes, the
dress
her
it
part was
up
weird.
and talk to it. But I guess if that's the coping mechanism she needed, I can't judge because I don't know what it's like. However, the decision to share it with millions of
Yes.
people online is what I find suspect.
Yeah.
And then I also was reminded of another example of this. There are endless examples, to be totally honest. Just another example of the insanity of TikTok and the just absolute gore that gets shared on the app.
I don't even want to show this. I don't.
This happened.
I know, but I don't want to show it.
Are you afraid of the
yeah, kind
YouTube
of, yeah, kind of.
TOS
I
on
am.
this one?
I mean, the fact that they blurred it out just in the image part of it there just makes me want to do so. But do you want to explain to people what it was?
Yeah, so a woman transitioning to identify as male got an elective hysterectomy and then decided to show her disembodied uterus inside a jar of formaldehyde on TikTok. And I've even seen other examples of this practice where they make it into jewelry, cast it in resin, and make it a decoration in their home. It's sick. It really is.
It's weird.
And it's sick that people applaud that type of behavior as if it's like quirky and unique and
Maybe
relatable.
to me it's not that it's sick. It's that it's shown as quirky. It's like at least show it the reverence, like show it with the seriousness that it deserves. Not just be like, oh, LOL, so random. Here's my uterus.
Yeah, that's literally where it comes from, right?
Yeah.
It is just shameless attention seeking.
Yeah. Clitorum says, so is this less YouTube friendly than a cum walk, Brett?
It actually is less
is,
YouTube friendly.
yeah.
You can see everything.
Yeah.
There is no censor on the video, so
I'm
I
not
guess
showing that.
if we're gonna be careful today,
Yeah.
we're not going to even show that example. But
Like,
I can't
is the video really
unsee
going to
it.
be watched by a bunch of people who are like, well, I was going to watch it, and then he wouldn't show me the the uterus.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
But I'm never going to unsee that.
Yeah.
Sadly.
The number one thing here is like there is this indescribable need from the new generation to share. It's kind of like if I don't show it to the world, how will everyone know that it happened? Right? Like I was, for instance, when I was talking about like when I was driving down the mountain yesterday in the horrible, in the snow and ice, and I'm like, it would be hilarious to have a video because it just looks so awful and dangerous. But it's at the same time.
Did you
it's like,
actually record?
No. But I'm saying you just know that there are kids that are going to feel that way and try to do stuff like that because they
Yeah.
feel like if I don't share it, nobody will know.
That's like what a lot of these adrenaline junkies do on social media, like filming themselves hanging off of buildings and stuff.
I mean, okay, so if we're talking about like parkour or skateboarding or any of these action sports, that makes sense to me. You go out with a set goal in mind, and the filming of the trick is literally the entire point.
Sometimes
Okay.
it's not a trick, though. Sometimes they just find a cliff and hang off of it.
I mean, to them, then that's what it
views.
is. It's how long did they like? I'm sure that there's logic to it. It's like I worked on my grip strength and I can hold it for this long.
I forget his name, but there was that one free climber who had a documentary made about him. Do you remember that guy? He like climbs without any attachments.
Oh yes, yep.
Yeah, and like he always, like says goodbyes to his family members before he does this, but they actually scanned his brain and they found that he just doesn't have
the fear gene or whatever.
fear receptors. Like they just don't work for whatever reason. And there's actually, I just learned there's a form of toxoplasmosis
Yeah.
that you can get from a cat, and it will actually just one shot your fear receptors for good. And
Maybe
people
mocha would be good
end
for
up becoming
something.
adrenaline junkies afterwards.
Maybe I need to get how does
Do
the
you feel like you're an adrenaline
Wait, how does the
junkie, or are
cat
you
get it?
just into your sport?
No, with what we did was always calculated risk and finding the limit to what you were capable of and then pushing yourself just past that limit. There were definitely people involved who just didn't have a sense of like what their abilities were. and would push it too far and either get hurt or get lucky. But there's a difference between controlled risk, in which you work your way up to a certain skill level along the way, and then after a certain age, it's not about risk and it's more about a creative approach to the sport, which is really only interesting to the people within that sport because it's not about how dangerous it is. It's about how technically proficient you are. So it won't actually translate on camera to anyone unless they actually do what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to explain, but it's more about nuance and minutia than it is about risk. But we've always known that that doesn't really translate to people outside the sport because they won't understand why it was difficult. So,
Yeah.
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 But yes, gross. All of it gross.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.